Welcome to the Blackout Show, presented by the Guillen Grid, a show about the Chicago White Sox baseball, the good, the bad, the ugly. We'll debate what's working and what's not on the south side of Chicago. It's old school versus new school baseball. And most importantly, we're keeping all the receipts.
Yeah, baby. Let me get this logo off.
Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
Is Garrett Crochet the best arm in the pen?
Oh man. Get the F out of here.
Let me see. Who is he going up against? There's no Colomé left. I haven't seen Tanner Banks. Maybe.
We've seen a lot of Bummer.
We've seen a lot of Bummer. Too much Diekman, if you ask me.
Hey, Junior, listen, man. I have to ask that because Liam Hendricks isn't back yet, and we've seen a whole lot of Lopez disappointment to this point. So I just got to say, if this kid is what he was before he got injured in 21, this kid's got some talent, Junior.
What was he? What did he do? I knew that he was good, but I don't. Was he that much
best
different?
on the team?
Was he much different than Ronaldo Lopez? So in order for you to fail like Ronaldo Lopez, you have to actually pitch. So Crochet's on that group of people that he's a myth because he has not had enough time to fail. So I got to see him come out and do it and see if the myth is for real. Because we've seen what happens to myths. The Kopech myth lived for 3 years, and now, reality has checked in. So I'm not going to go out on a limb and say he is the best arm in the bullpen right now, until he goes out and pitches. And again, Liam's not back. But yeah, I'm not. And then the other part is, I heard he's going to be a pinch runner. Pedro Grifol pretty much said he's going to use him in every single possible way, other than being a starting pitcher. He said long relief, high leverage. He might even go get the food that is ordered from the Uber from players.
Are you serious right now?
Dude, he literally mentioned every single thing. If you're a baseball person, okay, and you listen to that, you're like, what did you mean? Long relief appearances, high leverage situation, short relief appearances. So he's basically going to do it all. I don't buy that. I think that's a bad idea. And I think that they should stick with one plan with him. He has the ability to become whichever of those things they want him to, because he has the talent. I think he's got starting pitcher stuff because he can throw more than 2 pitches really well. So if you're going to make him a long reliever, you prepare his arm for that. This guy can't be this guy's coming back from an injury. You can't be playing around throwing him.
Well, I mean, obviously we're not going to toss him into the fire. When I think of what I think,
he's ready for the fire.
No, man, fuck him. We have to plan for the long haul here. And when I think about handling Crochet, I think about what the Padres, the Royals, and now even the Phillies, what they did to another lefty in Matt Strom, where he was that hybrid lefty where early in his career he was eating up 3 innings. And then, he got to when he was, 26, 27, and he was starting some games. Now you see him with the Phillies, and he's getting some starts and getting multiple innings, but they're also using him at times as a 1-inning guy. Like, hey, give me 3 outs, get me out this inning real quick. He could Crochet has the potential to be that weapon. I just don't think you want to put him, give him too many hats to wear. But I see him as that same type of pitcher.
All right. As a rookie, he went 54 innings, struck out 65 with a 2.82 ERA and with the ERA plus of 156. Kid's a stud, but you gotta, we've seen great seasons out of relief pitchers on our Sox, like the year that Bummer had, back when he had his fantastic season. But you gotta, like you're saying, Junior, you gotta produce more than just 1 year. And as a rookie, he mostly did that off of 2 pitches. And then going into spring training last year in 22, instead of that fastball slider, he introduced a changeup. And he, with that 3rd pitch, he was starting to look more and more like a dominant arm that I believe if he didn't get injured at the end of spring training, I made a bold prediction last year that he was going to be an all-star as a relief pitcher.
Really?
In our bullpen. But then he got injured, and then there goes that bold prediction. So now that he's coming, we haven't seen him for a month of this year, but if he can get rolling, I feel like naturally you have to keep him in the pen this season, and he's just a great guy to be the setup guy, where he puts everyone in their place with the arms that they have. This could be a really solid bullpen with him coming back, so you can go Lopez, Crochet, and then, Liam Hendricks or
Crochet definitely restores some order in that pen, Gonzo. And what we've been seeing the past, month and a half is a bunch of guys having to pitch in a lot of different roles in the bullpen. We know that's not sustainable. You're going to have to anchor it down. Well, you and Jason Spencer thinks the same about Grifol, apparently, in this situation.
Well, I don't think he's horrible. Jason Spencer is saying that Grifol is horrible. I think that the seeing different guys in the bullpen in different situations goes back to Pedro. And that's why I'm worried about Crochet when he said he's going to be a 3-inning guy, that he's going to be a guy in high leverage situation. The last thing I want to see is Crochet to have 54 innings before August coming back from his injury. I think that whatever his plan is, I like Crochet, to be honest. I think he could do 2 things really well. I think that he's a guy that can eat 2 key innings, and bridge a gap, meaning a game that either a C's or somebody goes 5 or 6 and you have a lead and he can protect it. I think he's really good at that. I think he can come in at any big leverage moment because I think he gets lefties and righties out. I don't think that he has, I don't think he's one of those lefties that's just a lefty on lefty type of guy. So they just need to figure out what he's going to do this season, and then going into, because potentially, as Gonzo just said, he might be a candidate to be a starter next year. But you don't treat with that. So like maybe the day that Kopech pitches, for example, maybe we see Crochet for multiple innings, and then he gets a couple days rest, and then he's used later on as like a high leverage guy. They need a plan with him, and whatever the plan is, I feel like one of the things that's been lacking in Pedro's, again, first year managing as a manager, and not only on him, on Katz himself, is that the bullpen situation has been kind of interesting. You see guys in different situations. Then they said they were going to go analytical and like not give people roles, but then they give people roles. And then, so it's been a back and forth. I can't sit there and say this guy's coming in and everyone wants to be Tampa. Tampa's been doing that since spring training. When you sign with Tampa, you know what you're signing up for. That's why there's guys that might avoid going there. There's other teams that are just more traditional in certain ways that they do things. They get whatever the plan is there, they need to be able to stick with it. Because with guys like Crochet, I think he was already a victim to it. Freaking Ricky Renteria got himself fired for it. Bringing in Crochet, I don't think the guys had ever even been in a game that early in his career. Bringing him in like in the 2nd inning to like make an MLB debut in the middle of a playoff versus Oakland. Talk about being desperate. I think regardless of what his numbers were, because his numbers were amazing, even if his numbers were not that amazing, this is a guy that we had as one of the top relievers and on paper, one of the best bullpens on paper. So him coming back is just as good as if he would have traded for somebody, or he makes the bullpen better. You can't argue that he does.
I picked him up in fantasy as soon as I got the notification.
I think he can close. Again, I don't think that Grifol is going to use him in that role because he's got his mindset on HOU. But I think there's been a couple games early in the year where they've had a 2-3 run lead and they've not been able to save that lead. And I think Crochet now might be the game changer on that end, where he might be able to hold that lead. And then that's, you're able to hold, if you look back and see when they've lost those leads, you might have, I'm not saying you're going to be in first place, but you might have 5-6 more wins in the season, which right now is a huge thing. With the White Sox, Mr. Targaryen. If they win 13 games in a row, now 12, they still would be one game under 500.
Yeah, that's sick.
It's just a hard place to be in. So again, if you would have 4 or 5 games starts becoming a big deal, and do I think Crochet is worth 4 or 5 games? Absolutely, because he's a guy that brings in Ks. He's a swing and miss guy. I think he's filthy from how he wears his uniform, which is really quirky. No, he's a. And you mentioned my team. You mentioned the Tribe, my B team. And they've been struggling. One of the things that they've been struggling is their bullpen's not what it was.
One of the worst teams in the American League. But keep going.
Pitching hasn't been the same. The bullpen hasn't been as effective as it was. So when your bullpen is legit, you can cover a lot of problems. Like my offense is not as big. Like tonight, the White Sox got 17 hits and they got 8-7 runs. They should have put in like a 17-run spot. So
come on, man.
I'm just being serious. Like I'm just saying, when you get that many hits,
they were facing Bieber. They got what they could. They won a ball game. Don't do that, man.
Well, I'm just saying, and when you're looking at the numbers, if the White Sox bullpen had done a little bit better in this month of April, maybe the team does not look as bad as it has been to this moment.
Man.
If your dad saw Crochet, would he make that same decision, moving him from relief pitcher to starting rotation like he did with Sale?
So Ozzie didn't want Sale to be a starter, number one. He didn't want him to be a starter. That's one of the things he always says he was wrong about. But with Crochet,
can you elaborate on that for a second?
He just thought that
he's a very good starter.
Yeah, and Ozzie said that, and Ozzie said yes, he's a very good starter. Bobby Jenks could have been a starter. He had all the pitches to it. He just thought that.
He said that in the show.
Yeah, he just said that. I just think him and Don Cooper thought that, in the long term, it might be better for his like longevity and health wise and whatnot. Which again, I think Sale proved everybody wrong, and he's probably one of the best starters in the last 15 years in Major League Baseball. But with Crochet, I think they would look at stamina and competition and like what he likes, because some guys some guys are built to be starters. They want to be starters. Some guys like coming out of the bullpen, and that's what they do. And especially nowadays that you can make a lot of money as a bullpen guy. So it's really how Crochet, what he feels like and what they can evaluate. He might come in and be a starter and not be really good. We saw it with Ronaldo Lopez. We saw it with the greatest closer of all time, Mariano Rivera, Josh Hader, guys that at some point wanted to be starters, and it just really wasn't in the cards for them. And we might be seeing that with Kopech down the line. So with Crochet, it's like you got to let him really. I know that he knows how to. He's a very good reliever. He's already proven it for 1 year with his rookie season. But I think that again, it's a situation thing. If Crochet is in your starting staff in your 2005 Chicago White Sox, he might be in the bullpen, just because there's no spot for him in the starting rotation as a rookie. If you talk about the 2009 White Sox, Crochet is definitely in the starting rotation. So I think it's more about like what the roster needs and what they see for him in the future.
Now, you said it'll be bad practice if he has over 54 innings by August. How many appearances do you want to see him? Let's just bring it back to at least the All-Star break. What do you want to see as far as like his usage?
Well, I'm talking about if he can get 54 to 60 through by what's left in the year, that's amazing. I just don't want it to happen like by July. Again, if he's the guy that starts getting the numbers and Grifol starts going to him every single time, then it's like, okay, when is he going to break down? So I rather see him being used to help out the bullpen, but I don't want him to go out there and have like 25 appearances by the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
Which there's nothing. Let's just say in the future they do put him in the rotation. It's not working out, and let's just say Kopech doesn't fathom out how our expectations were for him. There really isn't anything wrong with that, because you could put both of them back in the bullpen to replace when you get rid of Graveman and Hendricks, and you have 2 solid guys, dominant arms in that pen, and then you can go out and actually put some money into that rotation, get some arms in there, eat up innings, while still having a pretty solid bullpen. But that decision remains with Pedro Grifol, and that leads us to Grifol's grounds.
I don't have a problem making decisions. I don't have a problem making a call on a pitcher. I don't have a problem making a call on whatever our team needs at this particular moment.
All right, guys. I really felt, I mean, it's pretty easy to have a great game as a manager when your team is not only hitting the ball offensively, scoring runs, but Lance Lynn being
Ooh,
sensational. I think
big
he's,
dog. Hold on.
I think he started the evening with like a
Give you something to
7.51.
hold on to.
Is that a salad?
Yeah, that's a salad. 2
He
Roman
had a,
tomatoes and a cucumber.
Lance Lynn has a 7.51 ERA, and at the end of the night, he brings it down to 6.66. He was going 7 strong and was going into the 8th frame at like, what, 80s. I think he started at like 86-ish pitches, if I remember
Yeah.
right.
He managed a lot of traffic too, though.
But hey, out of very few pluses of the week, I fought with Pedro tonight, leaving him into the 8th, not going to the bullpen right away, allowing him to go deeper, getting letting that pitch count go. Felt like that was the right decision. I mean, you don't want to, really, if Cleveland's not seeing him well and he's rolling, you don't want to all of a sudden make this a totally different ball game with them blowing up our bullpen in the 8th. So I really liked seeing Lance Lynn out there and try to go for getting through 8 innings. But that didn't end up happening. He only goes through 7, and a couple guys get on. And, from there, we saw how it went, 7-3 ball game for the Sox. But what did you guys feel like this evening with Pedro?
Well, number one, I think that if you're not going to leave him in against one of the worst hitting teams in Major League Baseball and in the American League, and I can say that as a I'm being honest, dude, if they can hit, just give them the World Series. They can't hit when they were good, and right now they're really struggling. And again, the last 4 days they had been playing really good, solid baseball, like meaning they had been hitting the ball really well. And I was like, if Lance Lynn gets lit up today by Cleveland, this is going to tank his market. Okay, because teams are going to be like, this guy, you can't get Cleveland out. You're going to be in big trouble. Because the teams that he's looking to move to, they're not bringing him into face bottom of the barrel teams. They're bringing him into to solidify a rotation. So I liked what I saw. Meaning his arm, he's healthy. He went deep in the game. I love the fact that Pedro left him in. That's his. Lance Lynn is there to eat the innings. If he could have gotten out of that little situation that he put himself in,
Chris. Yak.
He could have gone to the 8th, but he did his thing. Again, I think that Lance Lynn, he's shown like really good games, and then he's shown games where he struggled. But I feel like that's been Lance Lynn since he's been on the White Sox in his career. Like if he goes out there and he battles, it's going to be a close game. If he struggles, right off the bat, and that pitchers are that's going to happen in a 25 start season if a pitcher gives you 25 starts. So I think they liked what they saw. I think his value now is a little bit better than it was last week. So the better he pitches along the way, because I see that Lance Lynn might be one of the guys that you move along. But Pedro did great. He didn't go too early to his bullpen. I like the fact that he didn't panic. Okay, you're coming at home. You're facing a division rival. You're facing guys that are your daddy. They've been his daddy when he was in Kansas City.
Coming at home when you're facing your daddy. Pause.
I'm just saying, though, they are Griffol's daddies. They were his daddy with Kansas City, and the Cleveland Guardians are the White Sox daddies. They whooped that booty last year. They're in front of you in the division. Everyone's having great expectations. Yes, pow. So you got a game. You got games where Ramirez is not playing. You got Beaver on the mound. Okay, you might panic and say, "Oh, I don't want to lose this 4-run lead," and freak out and go to the bullpen. It happens, and he didn't do that. Okay, so I think I give him a positive for that.
Yeah, he got a little bit of help, OJ, in the 5th when we fucking just avalanche the Tribe with runs.
Correct, but meaning panic. True, dude. You know how many the 5 runs in the big leagues? If he would have been like panic, he would have been like, I'm going to my bullpen ASAP.
That's
especially
true,
with Crochet being back.
But Lance Lynn wasn't giving up nothing to that point. Like it was a stalemate. Like the Sox
correct. So he didn't panic.
Yeah, well, it's hard not to panic when you're fucking
you'd be by the way, you'd be surprised when you haven't hit 20 wins and it's May 15th, your panic button starts getting like, you start getting antsy.
Yeah.
20 games.
It was like, so you thinking he showed a little bit of balls leaving Lance Lynn in.
Yeah, Pedro just got his ass kicked in Kansas City, dude. He just got embarrassed. You don't think he reads that? Like all this stuff. So he's again, when you need a win, okay, when you really need a win, and I think today's game, this series is it could be, a little bit bigger with a team that when you play Houston, dude, that you're playing a team that's like they might be hurt, but you know the talent that they have. When you look at Cleveland, you're like, we can take these guys on. Like they can hit. It's more of like a fair game. So I feel like for Grifol, he managed it well enough. They say, you know what, I'm going to trust my players. I'm not going to panic. I'm going to do my thing, and he went with it.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I give him credit.
Plus, you're going like tonight's matchup. That's the hardest matchup you're going up against with Bieber.
On paper.
On paper, yeah, and that's
well, but still, like you
to
don't
start
like
the
Gonzo
series.
saying, you don't
That's
have to
what
worry about anybody else.
Yeah, to start the series, especially with the the confidence these guys are going to get from that. That's huge to begin.
You got to their best pitcher. You got to their best pitcher, not only by one run. You tattooed him. Sheets smoked that ball. Moncada got the hit. Again, they took the lead even without the grand slam and all that. They put the beating on him. So, man, if they don't get confidence, I'm going to be honest. If they don't get confidence from that display of offense that they put on versus their best pitcher, they might need just more help than just coaches in baseball and whatnot, because they should feel. Again, Shane Bieber's the best pitcher on the tribe on paper. I think he has been throwing the ball the best this year again from their team standpoint.
He's been really good.
He had been pitching well, and they're not coming from like a struggling series. They've been playing really well the last week. So it's a good win for them, for the Sox, to start off the series.
But I do want to say, Junior, that you are correct being embarrassed in Kansas City. And I do want to go back to Friday's, the first game in Houston at home. Before the game, Pedro had a team meeting.
So was it his team meeting, though? I heard it wasn't his team meeting.
I wish. Who called the meeting? Who called the meeting?
I think it was a player meeting.
Player meeting?
It doesn't matter. Like, again, people are like, who cares who calls the meeting, to be honest?
Because the Astros still won 5-1 that day.
Well, here's the thing. You're not going to change. You know what? I think so. Sometimes the manager can call the meeting. Sometimes the bad meetings that you don't want is when the players call a meeting and tell you to get the F out when you're the manager. Those are the meetings that you don't want your players to be having. It's like, we want a meeting to talk bad about you, so we don't want you to come in, or you or your staff. I don't think it was a meeting of like reprimand. I think that the 2 days beforehand, he had talked about that he was kind of disappointed, that he felt that there was no sense of urgency from their team. Because Pedro went there. Everyone in Kansas City is really happy for him that he got the job. He's seen his old co-workers, families there. You don't want to get your ass kicked in Kansas City. Like, you want to show them like, hey, my team's for real. Like, everyone's seen the rumors. Everyone watches MLB Network. Everyone knows that you're 13-27. They might be like, hey, this is why they didn't keep him here in Kansas City. He's not very good. So there's a lot of pride. And again, half that coaching staff is Kansas City. So for them to get whooped like that, I think that him going into Houston in that series, he was like going into Kansas City, like that whole series, he's like, okay, I need to like figure out a way that these guys are not going to figure it out themselves. And he maybe had the meeting and said, hey, what are we doing? And I think it was a good meeting, because I think even if you don't win games, to address things that were there that he might have wanted to address, and they worked. I said it in the beginning of the year. The first player he's going to get on is going to be on Pantera. And Pantera is going to react really well to it, because that's never happened to him. And so far, it's probably the best thing that's ever happened to Pantera in his career.
He's slugging 557 with only a 276 batting average. That's amazing. That's Barry Bonds-like.
It is. He is playing to the caliber, but Pedro Grifol is the first person to ever call Pantera out in a White Sox uniform the way that he did. Again, we don't know what went down, but he did call him out. There was a benching. So I think that the meeting in itself, I think meetings can result in a lot of wins. I think it was good maybe to clear the air of. I think that these guys, man, I know that he still believes in them. I know the front office does for sure, that they think that they're just going through, because again, it gives you hope, man. The division is so bad. Okay, the Tigers tonight are in second place. And if you're going to tell me that the Tigers are going to hold on to second place for the rest of the year with that roster, I would not bet on it.
Yeah, they got They have the great Javier Baez and the great Eric Haas. They have talent.
Who do you guys think Pedro needs to go after now to be that second person?
I said that with a straight face.
Who does Pedro have to go now after?
Yeah. Who's the next person that needs to hold accountable?
Rick Hahn. No, I'm joking. I think that everyone else, I think I think Joe Kelly is back and pitching and doing well. I think Grandal, when he is in the lineup, he's played well. I don't think anyone's like dogging it. There's that controversy of what TA said and he didn't say, which I'm going to go on the record and say, why the F would Team A be happy and liking it when his team is 13-27? He's coming back from an injury. He has not been able to hit this year, and maybe since last All-Star break, he has not been playing like himself, and then he getting booed at home. You want him to be like, I love Chicago. This is amazing. Of course, he's supposed to hate it like that. He should be mad. So if he did make that comment, I don't hate him for it or hold him anything against it. If he hates the pitch clock, good for, he's a player.
I think he said he should have been on second base after the wild pitch.
Correct. But I'm saying, like, when people are talking about, like, because people are talking about, like, who would Grifol reprimand, I don't think TA needs. I don't think right now today I haven't seen anybody else on the team do what Pantera had been doing. I haven't seen that in the last couple of weeks.
He's still got to be feeling it though, because like tonight, I know you just said that he should be at second base, but even tonight with Bieber threw over to first twice with Tim there, and after that second time, Tim should have been running right off the get-go.
Yeah, with the new rules.
Yeah, with the new rules, and sure enough, with Opie at the plate, he turned over a double play in that situation. Which, if TA is running, that double play is not happening.
And that's on Debo, the first base coach. But if TA is being held because of his legs, again, those are so important to him and to the future of the White Sox, because he is a key part not only for this season. And I hate this whole like window thing. If you win the window and close the window and open the window, you got to see at the talent levels that you have. And you're not going to go find Tim Anderson's. And I'm not talking about the guy off the field, his ethnic race or anything. Just him as a pure baseball player. There's not a lot of Tim Andersons laying around in Major League Baseball that are not part of a team right now. So unless you're very clever in making a trade that's probably going to make you lose another key piece, you need a guy like Tim Anderson. So if they're planning on trading him, I really don't know what the backup plan is going to be, because there's no one in the minor leagues. Again,
put Berger at shortstop.
Put Berger. No, the guy, the myth and legend, Montgomery, the guy that no one's ever seen play, but everyone talks about him like he's the next Cal Ripken. No one's ever seen him play.
What if Colson Montgomery is another Chris Getz? I'll kill myself.
Well, don't say that, because you might be closer. Here's the thing, man. A lot of people.
Oh, don't do this.
I'm going to be honest. Who's seen him playing? Other than scouts, who's seen him playing day in and day out? I'm being honest, though. You got people in the South Side of Chicago. They read one article to replace Tim Anderson. Okay, regardless if you think Tim Anderson can go out there and never catch another ground ball ever, and for you to produce at a shortstop level at the heights that he's been able to produce offensively, even when he is struggling. Okay, it's not easy to find. Brandon Crawford's still playing because of the level of production that he has, because San Francisco hasn't been able to find a replacement. So the shortstop position is one that when you look at free agents, we passed up on Marcus Semien. Okay, we passed up on Swanson. We had Correa, Seager.
Bogarts.
There was this huge Bogarts. Even Miguel Rojas just got moved. The guy from the Marlins. Like, we've passed up on all this humongous inventory of shortstops. If I'm looking at this from an educated standpoint, I'm hoping that Kenny and Rick are thinking TA is our guy. Okay. And maybe we move Moncada and put Berger at third, or we move Moncada to second and get a guy like Chapman. But today, even when we're doing the analysis, I think that you need Tim Anderson. I don't care if he's happy or not, but I think that with his legs, I think that there might be some pain still in there. And I don't blame him for it, there is some pain, because I'm sure that he probably came back probably as quickly as he could. So it might be taking him some time. But again, we need to, the White Sox want to win. TA needs to be in this lineup, or someone that reflects TA.
And I want to also add not only TA, but I want Vaughn here too. And I feel like, although Vaughn is leading our team with ribbies, and he's, I think, 10th in MLB in ribbies, but he's a guy I would hold accountable right now, because I feel like all he's doing right now is pulling everything. And we all know, like, when we've seen Vaughn hot, he's staying patient in that box, and he's turning
His
everything opposite
his spray
field.
chart is beautiful when
He starts to spray it if he's focused and in the box, with,
Man,
patient in the zone.
Gonzo's a tough dad. The guy's like leading the league almost in RBIs, and he's like, I'm coming
my
out.
son. My
I'm
son's
trying to
got
think.
straight A's.
But wait,
man.
I'm thinking about like we're talking about someone that's dogging it. Here comes Gonzo talking about the guy's swing. He should get ripped for that.
Who do
No,
we need
but-
to reprimand? A guy that's leading damn near every offensive category.
You know what,
He's
though?
leading, but he's batting 230,
You
and
know-
like there's so many opportunities with situational baseball with Vaughn in the past 2 series where he can drive in runs and really get a lead, or turn the game upside down.
I can't believe you're giving Vaughn shit.
I wish Andrew Vaughn
This
would
is
have gotten a
beautiful.
chance. I'm thinking I don't know who the league again. There's no maybe Grandal. I think right now he's just playing on pure talent. Okay, but I don't know if he's matured enough yet to like be able to do those little things like at bats wise. Sometimes I think like Sheets even looks more mature than him. Burger's just a bomb, just a power guy. But Vaughn could hit 280 in the big leagues, no problem. Like his bat control. But again, after this series, okay, and I've said this, I've debated this back and forth. The best move that the White Sox have done was not bringing back Jose Abreu. Okay. He aged so much. I am scared that Abreu does not finish the year starting in that lineup in Houston.
Oh my God!
I'm being serious, man. Like his numbers,
for $20 million a year, he's on the prime?
That's Houston. He's coming off the bench. I can see Houston asking for like a burger guy just to be like, we're gonna put some power in here because they're offensively struggling. I'm being serious. At the time it was a lot of money, but it was like, could this guy bridge the gap? Maybe he doesn't bridge the gap of like Abreu 5 years ago, but Abreu today, Andrew Vaughn, 20 times every day. Today,
Andrew Vaughn, Gavin Sheets 20 times.
Correct. So I think that move coming into May 16th, it's already been proven that it was the right move. Like, I don't care anything that they say. You can pat yourself in the back, Gonzo. You can pat yourself in the back.
This is absolutely disgusting.
It is true. And again, maybe I'm still saying maybe Andrew Vaughn doesn't hit 30, but I don't think Abreu might not hit 10. You know what I mean?
Do you see how this just developed, Junior? Like, we went from Gonzo giving Andrew Vaughn shit to him patting himself on the back because we kept Vaughn and letting Abreu walk. How do we let this develop?
But because he's expecting a level of higher expectation for Vaughn because he's going to be someone moving forward that is going to be a key part of this lineup. And for him to be able to produce at the levels, and again, I've said this from the beginning, I don't think Vaughn is a power hitter like a Mark McGwire type of monster. I think more John Olerud and Don Mattingly and guys that can put the ball in play and spread the ball. Fred McGriffs, like he can really put, like he could hit. The Andrew Vaughn that I like is like a doubles machine because in doubles in that little
he's gonna have 40 doubles this year.
Correct. Out of that shoebox stadium that they play in, at least 20 of those are going to go out of the ballpark. But again, he can still have better at bats. But I really think that him in that core position at first base is you get options now. You have options to be able to do certain things if you like to at the deadline.
That's the thing though with Vaughn, like granted, like even when he does pull and hit his home runs are going 400 feet. So like it just frustrates me how they're like, I don't know if it's just a strategy right now for him to be pulling everything, but like I know when I've seen him focused and just tight, turning his shoulders more into the zone, lining himself up with the pitcher more, the spray chart just opens up and he's got power to all fields, and that's when I really see that power out of him. So
yeah, he just got to stay closed. Like a guy like Andrew Vaughn, he's pulling the ball because he's flying open a little bit. He's trying to cheat to get some backspin and hit it over the fence, but he's built to stay closed. Like that fucking home run that he hit off Chapman in New York should be on replay because that is the perfect Andrew Vaughn swing.
Like if he's going to be open, I think the crazy thing is he had 26, I think it was 26 ribbies in the first month of April. And if he were to replicate that throughout the season, he's easily going to get to 100 ribbies. It's just that power side of it where I feel like he could get to 25 to 30 and in there. But I'm not going to see that if he's going to remain open in his stance. So, but I want to go back to, because guys, after we aired the last episode, they had a chance to tie the series in Kansas City, and in that fourth game, the Kansas City Royals walked it off on a bunt and lost the series. I missed this game, but can you guys elaborate on how the hell it got to that? Because that was frustrating to see that the Royals walked it off on a bunt.
Number one, I think is the hardest play to defend. I don't think Pedro Gafal's even expecting it. I think it's ironic because he was the bench coach there, so maybe could have had a little bit more tendencies. They had no idea it was coming. They were surprised. Again, I think that Kansas City has played a gritty game. And then the White Sox shouldn't even been in the situation where the Royals came back for last at bats. They struggled again with runner on second base in the extra inning. I'm going to be honest, man. This team needs to be even with the players, or they got whoever they're going to bring. What they need to play to the strategies of the game. You mentioned a play before. Know the rules. 2 throwovers. Go take second. Okay, use it to your advantage. Don't be the guy in Bridgeport, Canaryville saying, "I hate the rule. I hate the get over it. It's the rule. You need to strategize on the rule. Like if they made baseball if you get a double, you get 3 more runs. You play for that. So this new rule with runner on second, okay. I don't understand why the White Sox are so bad at it of moving the guy over. Like, know who you are, take the lead. Like you at the time you had Billy Ham. Like, use the guys that are there, move the guy over, drive the run in, use it to your strategy, because maybe you're not a team that's going to outslug, and you're going to need those extra inning games, and that's going to be a huge difference. So I was upset because they came up first and couldn't produce. Okay, they couldn't do what they had to do, and Kansas City came in. They did. So I feel like that game just magnified that situation where the Sox are not very good at that. Not very good with that runner on second base. It's just like, oh, we got to play. Like, don't bunt them over. Again, if the Sox bunt them over, they still suck because they don't drive them in. But it's like you need to figure out a way. Those are things that they should be working on. And they're talking about fundamentals and doing all those. That's part of it. Okay, that because that you can control.
I feel like I just feel like it's an excuse that you can't defend it when you should at least scout yourself to realize that Hanser Alberto's at third base. You should probably strategize. You might see a bunt here if he's all the way back. Well,
considering the guy that's also hitting, because if you bunt against me, okay, to squeeze me at the end, because they did it, Diamondbacks did it against Gratterall at the beginning of the season. It was like, because that guy had no chance against Gratterall whatsoever. His best chance was to push one down the third baseline. So their scouting report should have been like, this kid who's up to hit probably feels at a disadvantage. And
it's your ninth hitter. It's your ninth hitter.
Correct. So again, the lack of the situation there. Oh, I'm going to keep saying this. Where's Charlie Montoya? Pantera didn't know his name. Yeah. I don't even know if he's in the bench or not. Those are things that are usually on the bench coach, not on Pedro himself, or wherever the infield. But they were surprised. They were surprised in that bunt, and that one's going to hurt. Because if they win 78 games instead of 79 games, people are going to lose money, and some people are going to make money, and some people, that might be the difference between you going to the playoffs or not. It'll be that one game.
The guy who laid down the bunt is Freddie Furman. He's actually a really good baseball player. He's hit a couple home runs this year, been playing some really outstanding baseball for Kansas City. So don't make it seem like he's some fucking ham. I'm pretty sure he had a chance.
By the way, if your last name ends with a Fermin or a Jimenez or a Latino, think this guy might bunt on me.
The Furminator.
I'm just saying, though, think that, though. Again, I think that you're super analytical. You're super, and like no one said, hey, this guy might lay a bunt down. Like you look at him, you're like, this guy could lay a bunt down. Like you need to be able to defend that. And again, they weren't prepared. And again, it's those situations where you're prepared. You got to prepare for this right situation, and they weren't prepared for that on a defensive side. And from a managerial standpoint, I don't think they expected the other team to do that.
Well, guys, I think it's time for our own preparation of what is to come. And this is going to be Blackout Live. for this week, we got no fans coming on, but our question to you for this segment, we're going to break this one down pretty thoroughly, but it is, what does your roster reconstruction look like? And we're going to do our best to base this off of mostly the talent. Money will come into effect, but we're going to look to see what this roster should look like going into 24 and what are the guys that won't be on it that are going to be trade assets for value for us. And I want to start off. I got a little notes here written up here, but of course, at the catching position, Junior, Grandal, you got to do your best to trade him because you know he's going to be gone next year. And I think Sebi is out of, I think he might be on arbitration, but preferably I actually would want Carlos Perez as my backup catcher. But for the catching position, that's going to be determined. And chat, we will also go into guys we want to fill these spots later on, going into at the end of May into June. But the catching spot, that's going to be critical moving forward. It doesn't necessarily have to. What we've seen in other, like Houston had Maldonado, but the Phillies had Raul Muto. So the catcher can hurt you not. Preferably, you do want a solid catcher. Me, I wanted Sean Murphy. I can't remember for how long, and that would have been nice to get, let's just say, Murphy and Bogarts last offseason.
Yeah,
but
I wanted to dunk the ball.
Go ahead.
And I wanted to dunk with basketball.
Yeah.
Some stuff just ain't gonna happen, my friend.
Get a play school rim and stop playing.
But that's what the White Sox need to do: get a play school rim and be able to get Sean Murphy.
Wow.
MLB the show. So number one, let's talk about the money situation.
Yep.
Everybody can cry, crawl, post posters, tweet about it, write about it, call him names, make T-shirts, boo him every day. He ain't selling the team. Okay, number one. Number two, I don't see Mr. Reinsdorf. Number one, I hope he shouldn't sell the team. It's his team. He should decide to sell it whenever he wants to. Number two, I don't think Jerry's going to come here and say, hey, guys, you guys have done a really good job building this team the first time around. I'm going to give you $100 million to add to the payroll because I just woke up and had a dream that I won the World Series. That ain't happening. Okay? So if Rick Hahn, the genius Rick, hasn't realized that the budget that he has and the fans that said that he was the best GM in the world for 3 years, and now you want to jump off his ship, ride it with your guy, like you did in the press conference with Grifol. You need to be smart on how that money is going to be allocated, okay, moving forward. Jerry might give you an extra $10 million here or there if you need to make a move. But they need to sign guys and move guys that you're not going to DFA 2 years into the contract. Go down the list, okay? And I'm talking about way before Larry. I'm talking about like way before. Go look at the list of DFAs. So you need to be smart on the money that's coming off. So for Grandal, I don't think that his time in baseball is done. But I think that for $18 million, almost 18.2, I believe that's what he's paying for him to be able to stay on this roster, it's going to have to be a humongous pay cut, okay? Which I doubt that he takes it. When he is healthy, he does produce, but the catching position is going to be one that you might have to go and find via a trade. Why? If you think the White Sox big league team is in trouble, if you looked at other Twitter accounts that talk about the White Sox future that no one looks into, it's like cryptocurrency. The White Sox minor league system is like cryptocurrency. Everyone pretends they know about it, but no one knows jack. It is a dumpster fire down there, my friends. It is horrible. There's no depth. They talk about the same two prospects. So the catching position, they need to draft some guys for the future pretty much. But there's no one ready for the big league show. There's not even a Zach Collins down there that you're like, remember the Zach Collins? Zach Collins will be ready in 2 years. Zach Collins, they don't even got a Zach Collins. So the catching position, in my opinion, Grandal's obviously playing for another contract, but
I like what I see. I like what I see out of Carlos Perez.
Carlos Perez could be the backup, and then you might have to find for 2 or 3 years a guy that might be a fix, like just like what's the guy's name right now in your Boston team? Alfaro, for example.
Yeah.
Like a guy, like you're gonna find a bridge guy that's like when they brought James McCann, like a high ceiling guy.
Yeah, because like if you look throughout history, Rick Hahn never made the trade like where Boston made the trade with Mookie, but they got back Connor Wong. Now you see
Correct.
Connor Wong paying dividends right now, 3 years later. We don't have, just like you said, Ozzy, that type of option isn't on the table.
No.
And
But that's a big question mark on that one. On the catching position, I don't, even though I love Sevy's a cool guy. He's a
Rundall batting 286, 3 homers, 10 RBIs. I mean, he's having a decent year.
He has a decent year. So again, a decent year, great. If he does make himself available for a very, very, very big pay cut, he might come back next year. But again, that $18 million that he's allocated right now to him, they need to make that money available for
he got to do a Tom Brady and restructure the deal.
He needs to restructure the deal.
And but like I think you said the best though. Catching position most likely will be something you'll have to trade for because the free agency next year for catching position does not look good. It's pretty bleak.
Oh, it looks horrible. There is it's not horrible in the sense that there's no future. There's no catcher like Sean Murphy. We say if we make a move for this guy, we signed Realmuto 3 years ago, and he's going to be our catcher for the next 5 years. It's like Martin Maldonado at 36, or Sonino at 35. It's like guys that are aged, which is fine, but it's a fix for the moment. Again, for that for that small span while somebody else gets ready, or you trade for somebody else that's a younger player.
Your best bet on the free agency market is Mitch Garber, and even at that, you're just hoping that he has a bounce back year like he did in Minnesota, but that's just not good enough.
And then you got to think too, he's injury prone as well, so you might run into the same situation with Rondell.
You know who's going to be the White Sox catcher?
Nick Fortes.
No, Mr. Yankee himself.
Gary Sanchez.
I'll do that. I'll give Jerry Reinsdorf my money to see El Kraken hit home runs.
I'm just saying though, but you got to if you're gonna go with a younger guy like a high ceiling guy, you might go with a guy like Carlos Perez and a guy like Gary Sanchez again, which I think is very promising. Again, can he catch? Who knows? But it'd be a similar guy to bring in. But again, the catching position, there's no one that I could see fixing it right now internally or in the next. So, and it's 18 mil. Let's not kid ourselves. Right. $18 million can get you some good stuff.
And then first base, of course, we all agreed.
We got 19 of them.
We all agreed that Vaughn was going to be part of the core. So first base is covered. And
Vaughn, Sheets, Berger, Eloy, Grandal. Should I keep going?
No, we'll get to
Colas. Colas will be eventually the first baseman too.
We'll get. Yeah, but Vaughn's your starter. Your starter. Second base to be determined. And again, that's another position you're eyeing to be a trade asset because the free agent market, I think your best option was like Solano. Can't remember anyone else really out of it because it was that bad. So second base is going to be also to be determined. And that brings us up to the middle to shortstop. Normally, I'd like to trade Tim Anderson, but looking at the market for shortstops for this upcoming class is pretty bleak. Yeah. So you really have to rely on Timmy in a contract year to go off, and then you're probably going to pay him. I wouldn't give him 7-year contracts, but I would do my best to give him best market value for 3 to 4 years at least, and top dollar for it and guaranteed money.
Sure, you can sign him for 7 years. If he's here past that time and he has a World Series, another one, it won't matter. It'd be worth it. I'm going to give you guys an analogy on Tim Anderson. Tim Anderson's like when you're fighting with your girlfriend or your wife, and you used to be hot back in the day. You used to be hot. And you think you're going to go back to the club and you're going to pick up girls just that easily. And you just leave your family and your girlfriend. And then you go live that life in the streets. And it's not like that. Nobody likes you. You're not picking up anything. And now you're eating lonely, on a Friday night, a hungry man meal, watching reruns of White Sox old school games. That's what leaving Tim Anderson could look like for this team. When you look at the market, it is horrible. Okay. It is horrendous. If you think finding a fixer-upper at the catcher position is dangerous, talk about shortstop. Okay. Mr. Montgomery, the next Cal Ripken, not ready for the big show right now. Because if he was, he'd be in the big leagues. Because big leaguers do that. Miguel Cabrera did it. Harper did it. The big dudes do it. They don't spend 4 or 5 years in the minor leagues. They just come up and do it. Yeah. TA could be the shortstop. The second base position, they can fix it with it internally. You could put somebody that can catch the ball there. I'm not worried about second base. Second base, there's only like 2 guys that produce, maybe 2 or 3 guys that produce at like, I'm going to carry my team level, which is like Albiz. But there's not a lot of like, there's not a lot of Jeff Kents going around out there in the second base position. But the TA position, I think the White Sox missed the boat on the biggest, maybe 6 years of shortstop free agent markets because everyone's pretty much taken at this moment. And unless you go to a veteran guy like a Crawford for like a year, like when they did it with Orlando Cabrera until they got Alexei ready, between Uribe and Alexei, then you can go that route. And that did get us to a playoff, but it's a very dangerous move. One that can go really, really bad. Like, imagine if TA wouldn't be here and it was Elvis Andrus and like somebody else at second, like how much worse it could be. So I would stay with TA at least this year. And I ride out TA as long as I can. And I started trying to negotiate with TA. I'm trying to make TA want to stay here and negotiate. And I'm not going to hurt him as much as I did the first time around if I'm them with a bad contract, but I'm trying to get a friendly team deal and work it out. But I'm trying to keep him here as long as possible. And then if it's out to the last minute, if it doesn't work that year that I know I can't bring him up, I'll trade him in that last moment of the deadline. But you cannot just give up TA right now. Not when his value is at the highest, because I don't see anybody replacing him.
I will say, like, I agree with you, but if there is a guy to do it, I would. If there was an opportunity to trade TA to the Dodgers and you're going to get back Miguel Vargas to play second base, and they also have
a catcher,
2 prospects at catcher in the top 100. If you can give me Vargas and one of those guys in that deal, I'm going to pull it, because I will try to make another deal with the Diamondbacks to get Rojas to go play shortstop. So we have Rojas, Vargas up the middle, and a catcher.
Again, but again, they gotta be realistic on saying, okay, if we're not going to move this, if we're not going to spend that money, they got to find a way to say, okay, we're not going to spend that money. We need to make sure that we trade for talent.
I got a plan for shortstop, but it involves our rotation. We'll get
to the rotation.
Wait, Kopech will play short?
No, Lance Lynn's playing short. But okay. I do want Tim Anderson to remain in a White Sox uniform because I like the aesthetic of it. Like we haven't had an outstanding member in uniform since Jermaine Dye and Ray Durham. So,
and I'm sorry to say this, Juan Diego, but it's not too early. We got to be realistic here.
We got to be prepared.
We got to be prepared, and I'm just going to
the trade value. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. The trade value and the trade deadline. The trade value is not what your fantasy team is giving you.
Yeah,
teams that are built with depth, they're like, wait, what? Unless you have a Chris Sale or an ace that can come into your team and give you a straight up big time impact, like a Cease on top of his game, you might get that. But if Gonzo's correct, if the Dodgers call and they're in that pennant race, okay, and they don't have a shortstop, or Atlanta, and they say, we need Liam Hendricks and we need Tim Anderson, and we're going to send you Vargas, a catcher, and 3 other pitchers, or 3 guys that you guys can pick from our whole system, you say, you know what? We make the move. Why? What's the difference in finishing 3rd place with 2 guys you're not going to re-sign here, or finishing 3rd place with at least the ability to have saved money and have players that are going to be here in the future? You cannot get Jose Abreu. Okay? The Trey Mancini trade was supposed to be for Abreu. And we did not get that body because they kept him. And they didn't re-sign him, which was a good move, but you could have moved them earlier.
Wait a minute. So instead of Houston going to Baltimore for Mancini, they came here first.
Yes. They asked for Abreu. Yes.
And the White Sox said no, knowing that they wasn't going to re-sign.
Probably. Of course they asked for Abreu.
Franchise.
Of course they asked for Abreu. He's the number 1 first baseman that's on the list of teams that are going nowhere. By the way, do you think other teams don't know that you're not going anywhere?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
When you're not going anywhere is when you have a drug drinking problem. You're the last one to find out. other teams know. They're like, dude, you're not going anywhere. So like, let's make this deal. And you're like, oh no, she's gonna come back. We will date. I will save this marriage.
Junior, I also want to say that, and Juan, this is to you too, but it's not too early. Chuck and Guff just had their podcast today talking about it too. So I want to make sure we're the ones that go more in depth and give you guys some really good analysis than anyone else. And that's what we're doing right now. Now, third base. Junior's boy, Moncada.
Move him to second. He's got no options if they want to move him.
This is where money comes into effect, right? Moncada can go off. He can come back from, injury and go off because he's already got his batting average.
He's making an all-star team this year.
He bumped it up to 300 already, and he's on a little roll of his own right now, and he's playing solid third base defensively as always.
Líneas only.
So Moncada has one more year left at $24 million. You're not going to move him. It's going to be very difficult to do that. So Moncada will be staying with us, which isn't a bad thing. If Moncada continues to heat up, he realizes he's going to have one more year left of big boy money before he has to play his ass off to get a second contract of big boy money. So, and your backup's going to be probably third base, Jake Berger, right behind him until Ramos comes up. Eventually.
What about Brian Ramos?
So he's a good year or two away. But in the meantime, we got Moncada and Berger.
You're 2 ways out. You're 2
Stop
away.
it.
You're 2 away.
Stop it.
He's a decade 2 away.
Your brother knows it too.
Osney did say he is the best prospect down there, but again, when you tell me, oh, he's a year or 2 away, it's like, isn't that great? So he's like a year or 2 away, like Colas. So is Colas counting right now as a big leaguer? He is killing Charlotte.
He is killing Charlotte. He should be up. He should be up more than Hazley is. I don't know why.
I'm not saying it's like 1 or 2 years away from him maybe being in a uniform in the big leagues, which is like 4 or 5 years of him producing at a big league level.
I mean, we don't know who's.
I'll be 45 by the time he's producing.
Come on,
I'll be 35. I'll be 45 by the time Ramos is probably producing at third.
Who was stopping Brian Ramos from coming to at least getting some at bats, even a cup of coffee in the majors? Who's stopping him on the major league roster?
I mean, aren't you kind of surprised that he actually had his first spring training camp this past year?
Because it's not culture. The Ozzy culture was Ozzy would just play a bunch of kids in spring training. He didn't care because he wanted to see everybody.
Yeah.
That's not the culture.
That's not the organization. That's not the organization as of lately. So the fact that he was there, and I saw him in person. He had the best at bats versus Blake Snell than anyone on this roster this spring. And Blake Snell is a quality arm, even as a lefty.
Okay, Colas's stock dropped a lot when they sent them back down.
Yeah. And we'll get to Colas. So left field, obviously Benintendi's staying. He's got 4 more years.
Wait, Gonzo, sorry, real quick. Yeah. He's my boy, he's my guy. He probably won't be here past next season.
Mm-hmm.
I would move Moncada to second. If I was Moncada, I'd move to second. And I hope that I had a great year because now not only people don't know that I can dance in a music video, but that I can also play second and I can still play third. My options to signing with somebody just become that much better, and the team gets much better. The White Sox don't like asking guys things like, "Oh, Abreu, do you want a DH?" This is your job, okay? Mm-hmm. You say you grab your second baseman's glove and you go to second base, and you make him go there, and then you give Berger the chance to play third, or you go and do the Chapman move, or you try to sign that big free agent with all that money that you're saving for the third base position.
Look at what Andres Jimenez did. He got traded to the Tribe. Had an outstanding year at second base. He's a natural shortstop, and he actually robbed the Tribe because he's going to be one of the worst players on the roster next year. He's going to bat .220. His outfield average is going to be decent. But I mean, if Moncada has that type of year, he could rob the next franchise.
Correct, but Andres Jimenez is a natural shortstop, probably the best shortstop defensively in the division. Plays second now.
Yeah.
He's struggling again, sophomore slump right now. But again, I think with Moncada, you need to. If your roster is better with him at second base, you consider that move to get the Berger the at bats.
I don't think Moncada's a good second baseman though.
It doesn't matter. Your team's better that way.
No, how?
But that would be interesting though, because that would remind me of Justin. Remember Eric a month ago saying, let's call Cincy and get India. India's like similar third base, second base. So if Mankata,
What do you think is going to take you to get India?
that would be interesting. I gotta message him and see what.
Dylan.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna be Dylan. I gotta see what the
Because you're not just getting in.
he relies
India,
it off
too.
of he relies off of baseballvalue.com, which is actually pretty solid website, and they've been very good with their analysis with trades and value. So they've been pretty close on a lot
Cincinnati
of
got
acquisitions.
Ellie De La Cruz too. I think we could make a move if we want a shortstop for the future. We could make a move for Novi Marte, their second guy who also plays this position in the minors.
I love this second rebuild.
But Junior, thanks for stopping
You know
me at
what's going
third
to
base.
happen.
Thanks for stopping me at third base here, because that brings up another point. The market for free agents this offseason. We were talking about this before we went on air, but Matt Chapman's going to be available. So if Mikado moves over to second base, there's a big boy bet that you could put some big boy money into and bring Matt Chapman and play third base for the White Sox. A guy right in the middle of, your top of the order. It's going to be, he's what, second best right now? Probably second best third baseman in the league.
Probably after Nolan Arenado.
Yeah.
So what's the gap between Matt Chapman and Robert Ventura? Does Matt Chapman have a chance to be the best third baseman in franchise history?
I got to put you on timeout. I got to figure a way to do this.
By the way,
here
I'm muting your mic. I'm muting your mic.
Best third baseman. Wow. Okay. I just think that if you're going to you need another bopper. I just think that you can't rely on Berger being your future third baseman. I don't think that you can rely on Berger being your future third baseman.
I'm back.
So when you look at the weak class of 2024, when you look at the weak class of 2024, Matt Chapman is probably one of the best options on there. So if you can go and spend that money,
platinum glove, Junior.
Yeah, he's a great glove. By the way, if you're gonna have Matt Chapman replace Moncada would be like, I think if you tell Moncada, hey, we just signed Chapman, can you play second? I think you'll be like, yeah, I think that's the right move. If you tell Moncada he's moving to second for Berger, he'd probably laugh at your face. So that's the big difference of like who you're moving for. So like, again, he's probably the reason that we bring it up with the money that's being saved. He's probably the only guy that's worth the years and the amount of money that you can give it to him from an offensive standpoint that he could be a dude. Because why? The following year you have Moncada leaving. Okay, you have more guys leaving.
On to something.
So you need to be able to replace those bats eventually down the road. Again, this is not just for 1 year. You got to be able to put the best team together for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So that's our infield. And we're gonna move the outfield now. Benintendi in left field. He's got another 4 years, so he's not moving anywhere. And honestly, I think we said it the best last week, Justin, with Benintendi. Pedro's not using him properly, and I don't blame him because of the roster construction from Han. But if you can add some bats in this lineup, I think your best bet is putting Benintendi in the bottom of the order, 7, 8, 9. Let him be there.
What did he hit when he was with Boston when he was at his best?
He was like 5 or 6.
At his best.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he gets to Chicago coming off of a 5 home run season. He's hitting more leadoff and third than he's ever hit in his career.
Correct. That's what I'm saying, though. And by the way, he is not even a shadow of the player that he was that one season with Boston. Not even a shadow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the White Sox aren't the shadow of the Red Sox. They don't have.
But that's what I mean, though. On a good team, again, on a good team, he is not hitting in the top 4 guys.
Oh, 100%. He wasn't even he had a good.
I see him like Joe Creedy. I'm gonna be honest. I see him like a Joe Creedy. If Joe Creedy is like by himself in the team, or like 1987 with Ozzie Guillen that led the team in freaking WAR, and he had all the numbers were defensively. You go from like, oh, he was a best hitter, so he needs to be in the top 3 to like hitting 9th 2 years later. Joe Creedy was hitting 6 or 7. If you don't have the guys in the middle, you put Joe Creedy hitting 3rd. That's he's still a good player,
situation.
But you're in trouble. Like, oh my God, he's our best offensive player. I think Benintendi's correct. I think Benintendi's a great role player, and I think it's a guy that they have the years for him. It gives you, he's going to catch the ball when he is healthy. He does play a lot, and it really helps out the left field. And I think they did it in mind where
I love him in left field.
Yeah, we have the kid now in right, like a younger version of Eloy. We could probably play more than Eloy, but we can probably replicate him. We got Pantera in center. We probably could move Eloy.
Yep. So we're just gonna move around the outfield here. Benny's in left. Right fielder. It's gonna be to be determined, and I'll get to Colas in a minute here. But center field, normally, I think it'd be great if you trade for Robert, get the value for him. However, then you look at free agency in 24 in center field, and it's bleak, just like it is at shortstop and catching, and all the positions that we need is bleak.
By the way,
So,
there's no one in center field to replace the level, especially at the money that he is making. You're not going to get that type of production.
Prime Torrey Hunter, maybe.
So, like what we were about to get to this, but what Don said. Yes, you're going to keep Luis in center field, and he's going to be part of your core moving forward because if you're going to keep him and he keeps producing, he's already signed through 28, I believe. So he's one of the longest tenured guys right now.
Can I say something real quick about the draft picks, guys? This is not the NBA or the NFL. Okay,
no
when you draft a guy, draft good, the guy's going to take like 4 or 5 years. Okay, Berger is a number 1 draft pick. Sheets is a number 2 draft pick. Rarely do you get a Byron Buxton, and he spent time in the minor leagues. A Manny Machado, he spent time in the minor leagues. Drafting for MLB impact for a position player is not something that happens overnight. Not to mention, the White Sox are not on top of the list of player development. Not just now, but forever. Name me a White Sox player that they have drafted in high school that they have developed in the last 20 years. I'll wait. I think Joe Creed and Tim Anderson are probably the last 2.
God.
And I think Tia doesn't count because he was JUCO. So a last high school player that was drafted is probably around Joe Creed, that a guy that had a multiple career with multiple years. Everyone else has been a college player. So saying, oh, we're going to trade this guy and move this guy, bid on this guy, we're going to draft. It's not the NBA. Like, they need to be very smart. So when you're looking at guys like Pantera, for as lazy as he is, or people want to call him out, this guy's really, really young. You have him locked in already, okay, at a price where if he does go off, he basically starts playing for free. The potential of that, what he has shown, is way better than what anyone else is out there offering. Okay, any free agent out there, even him at his like crappy Pantera level. So I think he's one guy that you don't move unless they give you so much, or they ask for it, like when the Tim Anderson move, and they give you so much in return. But I don't think Pantera should go anywhere. And
okay, let me give you a scenario. Let's just say Arizona call Corbin Carroll and Zach Gallen.
Yeah, you move him. Yes, you move him. Then for that, you move him, but you don't move him just to move him to bring in like a reliever. You know, like you just don't move and say, oh, we're going to rebuild and we're going to, like, if you're going to make a move like that, you really, 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 really have to do a really good job on moving them. So I'm okay with Pantera being at center because I don't think his money is actually that much compared to like what the market would bring for
compare his money to Byron Buxton. It looked like we fucking stole because Byron
compare his money to Benintendi's.
Ugh. Exactly.
So that's what that's what a guy like Benintendi costs, and a guy like Byron Buxton costs. When you look at his production, when he has been healthy, when he has had the uniform on, yes, it has been for less than 100 games in the big leagues. He has produced. My question is this to all the White Sox fans out there: why do people talk about injury-prone players like Berger, like Pantera, but never talk about injury-prone players like Berger? Why? I'm being honest. Like, why? They talk about Eloy, but they don't talk about Berger. Berger has just been hurt just as much as all those guys. And those guys have produced more in the big leagues than he has. Just because he looks cool in the little black jacket and the home runs, he looks like he works next to you in the trucking company. Don't talk to me about, I'm being serious. Don't talk to me about injuries when this guy's been hurt all the time. He has been hurt, and not just his Achilles, okay? He's been hurt multiple places now. And he has not played more than 100 games himself. So when you're talking about keeping guys and moving guys, like those guys, when they have been healthy, Eloy, Pantera, they've produced. They just haven't been able to do it for a long time. So moving a guy from that caliber, with the bad as the minor league system is, you have to be careful on how you move those guys because they can end up being really, really bad.
So our outfield, Benintendi, Robert, right field's to be determined, which looking at free agency for right fielders, I mean, we'll get their DH in a second here, but Adam Duvall, you can probably go get him to cover while you wait for another year. You draft your next guy, but
I don't know. But Duvall been injury prone too, Gonzo. Like he
Yes.
just broke. He just re-broke his surgically repaired wrist.
Bring back Adam Engel. Colas is a right fielder until he gets too fat to play first base.
That could be very soon.
I know, but you have to play him in right field. I think that you have to give him the job. I think the White Sox are missing a huge opportunity right now, man, and that's why they need to realize who they are. Colas is basically not learning anything in AAA other than like, how far am I going to smash this ball? He needs to come here and learn because he will hit 50 home runs in AAA.
That's where I led off a couple episodes ago asking Justin, why didn't Pedro fight to keep Colas here? Why are you going to send him down? What's he going to learn down there?
Nothing. That's why when he goes on there, he rakes. He is your typical guy when he goes on there, like Moncada and TA, like when they go down there and destroy AAA pitching. There's nothing left for him to learn down there.
Because regardless, he gets his confidence back. He comes back up here. They're still going to attack him where they left off.
Gonzo, look at what the Red Sox did with Tristan Casas. Casas hit a stretch where he was batting sub 150, and they kept him on the roster and let him fight it through. Colas' average dropped to 212, and then he got the boot.
Because they think that they can. By the way, because they think that he can win. You're not going to know what you have. He's a Brian Anderson type of player. BA had already learned everything that he could in the big leagues, and they gave him 600 at-bats to figure it out. And BA played amazing center field. One of the best ever to do it.
Definitely Gold Glove caliber.
Yeah, and then we couldn't figure out hitting. And then there's guys like that. He is in that position where you can put him there, okay, and that he needs to figure it out because there's nothing else that he's going to learn elsewhere. So you're sending him down there pretty much to just like find himself. And it's like, okay, great. When he comes up, there's no videos like in the big leagues like there are in the minor leagues. Okay, there's no Shane Beaver. Okay, in AAA, I just watched the El Paso team. Their best pitcher is Julio Teheran. Okay, that's their ace. Julio Teheran's like the fifth starter.
He's like what, 36 now?
Yeah, but I'm saying he's the best pitcher in that team in AAA. In a big league team, he's a fifth starter. So in the big leagues, man, this is where it's at. Like you're not facing the Indians, the Cleveland Guardians bullpen and the Tampa bullpen, and you're not going in like on days where like you're getting guys that they're bringing a pitcher just for you. There's things that happen at the big league level. Not to mention you have a new hitting coach. Okay. This is your guy, Pedro. You fight with him and you make him because your future, okay? If Pedro Grifol is going to be managing here past 2025, 6, he better believe that Oscar Cola has to be ready. Because I don't think if Oscar Cola is not ready, I don't think the team's doing too good. So Oscar Cola needs to be in the big leagues.
And he's been one of the few players that we incubated within our system. So
correct. And if he hits 210, because he can't develop in the big league level, that happens. That's on the big league coaches and the organization. But he is already past that level of AAA. Like he's done with
it. Let me ask you a question, OJ. Okay, go ahead, Gonzo.
Our last spot, designated hitter. Personally, I'm hoping that Eloy Jimenez. I hope he gets hot, and I really want to trade him. Because we got a lot of spots that I need to find value to retool this. And yes, I'm hoping, not really hoping, but I want Colas up here figuring himself out in his rookie year so that next year he's going to be our designated hitter and our fourth string outfielder.
That's a bad team.
Why is that a bad team?
But he better hit a lot. Your DH better produce, Poppy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying. Hey, again, White Sox have a whole line of DHs that they can pick from, and if you trade Eloy, they'll be very scared to do so, even though his contract is very friendly.
White Sox
because he
like Victoria's Secret got panties.
Yes, they got a lot of DHs. They need to if they get rid of Eloy, man. You imagine Eloy goes off somewhere else and makes like an MVP run.
But what has he shown you to this point?
When he's healthy, he plays well.
When he's healthy,
How
many games has he missed?
He's played less than 100 games in the last 3 years, which is something that is very normal and common in White Sox amongst the players in the White Sox. So again, you cannot just put it on Eloy. The only player on the White Sox that played day in and day out was Jose Abreu.
If I can get value for him, solid value, I'm taking it.
Again, you can trade him. That's fine. That's fine. You can trade him. You have the people to replace him. But again, if you're going to trade him, do it now.
I don't think Oscar Colas will have a better White Sox career than Diane Viciedo.
Wow.
I do not see it.
Wow.
And we got to find something fast.
I can't even read you right now.
Diane Viciedo. By the way, look at Diane's numbers. He might be, again, do not hate on him. Those are hard numbers to come by. Numbers are not that bad.
Daniel Park only did it once, and he's been the last one to do it since.
Correct.
I think we're just gonna have to be popped. Like, think about it. We got lucky. Abreu was falling off. Like, what if we move off of TA and let's just say what you said, OJ, Eloy, they don't fall off? What if they elevate? And then we'll just be stuck with this 71-win team hoping for the next future.
Well,
my soul hurts.
We're going to get to who our replacements are going to be. Guys, we're going to lean on up here in the upcoming episodes. But this is a wrap for our position players. And the spots that we keyed are obviously shortstop, second base, and right field. Those are the three positions that we are going to have highlighted going forward and that we're going to do our homework in when we do our trades. Because I know Juan said earlier, who's going to be the guy doing that? Is it going to be Chris Getz? Well, we don't know, but we're going to give you our best analysis of what we'd like to see, regardless if it's going to happen or not. But we're going to give you our best analysis. And we're moving on to the pitching staff. All right, guys. Cease, Kopech, Lynn, Clevenger, Giolito. All right, I want to do a hot roll through this, and you guys can disagree or agree with me. All right, I'm keeping Cease, Kopech, Lynn. I'm keeping Lynn for next year. I'm going to trade Clevenger and Giolito at the deadline. So for 2024, I'm bringing back three guys: Cease, Kopech, Lynn. And I want to remind you guys that Lance Lynn, through 7 starts when he came back last year, had a 7.53 ERA, and through 8 starts this year had a 7.51 ERA, very alike. And what did Lance Lynn do the rest of last season? He had I think it was like a 2.20 ERA. It's better than Cease. So this is a guy that has done it before. He's bounced back. I'm not pushing Lance Lynn off the books yet. But as far as my rotation goes next year, he's definitely a guy that I'm putting on the back half of my rotation. So I'm keeping 3 guys because you can, it's a club option, so you can decline it, but you only have 2 guys left and you have 3 spots to fill, 60% of your rotation. Me personally, and we're going to get into this because I kind of did my own homework here. And chat, this free agency is the best for pitching, starting pitching. The class for that is ridiculous. So I'd rather fill 2 holes instead of 3, and I'm keeping Cease, Kopech, Lynn, and no, chat, I'm not trading Cease. I don't care. I feel like we made a mistake with Sale. I'm not going to make it again.
Wait, who said trade Cease?
A lot of people on Twitter.
Well, they're idiots.
So we're keeping Dylan Cease because we need him. If we're going to retool, we need an ace. So I'm not going to make that trade. We can get value elsewhere, trading other guys like Giolito. So I'm trading Clevenger and Gio at the deadline. What do you guys think?
Well, I was just going to say that, like, you say that the class for pitchers in free agency is stocked. And, I mean, I agree with you. The only problem is, what direction do the team want to take in the next year? Do they want to be locked up with somebody? Or do we really see the White Sox running it back with another Mike Clevenger type of deal or a Lance Lynn type of deal with the 1 or 2 years?
What I'm doing, I'm keeping those 3 guys. I got 2 spots remaining. I'm signing one big boy to a big deal that I want going forward. And that second spot is going to be like a kind of like a Clevenger where for value, I'm going to get him on a 1-2 year deal in time. So when Schultz is ready to come up, Schultz will come into the rotation to spot that last spot. Noah Schultz, kid's going to be amazing. But
Another minor leaguer that he's supposed to be good.
and I will laugh in Junior's face when he comes up because he's going to be better
I'm
than
just-
what Cleveland has at all.
Better than who? Better than who? Better than who? Who? Say it. Who is Noah Schultz going to be better than?
Anyone
He's
in
going to
that
be better
rotation.
than Zach Plesac. He's going to be better than Peyton
Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly already says he has better
Logan
stuff
Allen.
than anyone. Anyone that
Okay,
you,
because
in this
Joe
rotation.
Kelly, by the way, Joe Kelly's been known as one of the greatest scouts ever. I'm just saying though.
Well, you've
Again,
seen that
is he going to be
live.
better than Cease? Is he going to be better than
This kid's
Cease?
This kid's
won
only
that
19 years
championship.
old.
I'm not saying that he's not. So is he going to be better than Kopech? Because 3 years ago, you guys were all going to the stadium and watching Kopech's starting debut, and everybody was crying wearing black in the rain. Do you guys remember that?
Nope.
And NBC had a special, and it was like the next coming.
I'm
It was
just
like-
gonna.
it was-
I'm
it was like,
putting my name. I'm putting my name on.
Okay.
Noah Schultz.
It wasn't
just
me.
like
I had to
did-
work that day. I wasn't there.
Just like I
Okay.
did for Dylan Cease last spring. I'm doing it again.
So we got the free agent class
Mhm.
right now. There is Ryu, Snail, Carrasco, Nola, Severino, Gray, Otani, Maeda, Wood, Odorsey, Kershaw.
So
Harris.
the two guys I'm bringing big boy money to is if Urias or Nola hit the market. If they don't get re-signed by the Dodgers or Phillies, I'm going all in on one of those
Okay.
two. I think it's going to
Okay.
be Urias because I don't think the Dodgers are going to re-sign him.
Okay. So I like them. So Lynn has an option.
So
Okay.
Cease being paired up with Urias. I'm
What does that
excited.
mean paired up? What do you mean paired up? They're not
As
gonna
your
turn double play
1-2,
together.
as your 1-2 in your rotation.
Oh, okay. I thought they were
I'm
going to turn double
excited.
plays together.
Oh no, no, I'm
Oh
excited.
my
for that.
God.
That means it doesn't matter. They're in the same rotation. It doesn't really matter. Again,
But then that other spot, I would value. There's like 4 guys I would look at. Again, if they hit the market, we'll see if they get resigned. But Flaherty is going to be there. Sonny Gray could possibly be there. He's set up to be a free agent.
Now-
Sean Manaea on like a 1-year deal. I'd be
Gonzo, let me ask you.
interested in. I got one more name. Hold on.
Okay.
Tyler Molly from. You remember him last year in Cincinnati?
Hey, he's hurt
He-
now.
Yeah, but we'll see. Like I said, on a 1-year deal, I'd be
Cats will fix them all. Cats will fix them all. So Lance Lynn is in an
Good shoe
18.5
game.
club option.
But go ahead,
club
go ahead.
option.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Justin. Ask the question before.
You said you wouldn't trade Dylan Cease, correct? Now we've been contemplating a Tim Anderson trade to LA. What about sending Dylan Cease for a package that involves a guy like Gavin Stone?
No, I'm not trading Cease. And Juan Diego, he's hurt. Yeah, well, so was Clevenger. So we signed him off his injury. So,
Wow.
all right. Go ahead, Junior. Go off
Oh, so
on
I wanted to
your
stop.
breakdown.
No. So not no breakdown. I'm just
Okay.
looking at this. I'm saying Lance Lynn's going to make $18.5 million if you pick up his option.
hmm
Mhm.
Okay. Mike Clevenger is signed for $12 million for next year. Okay.
Yep.
33 years old with a huge upside still, allegedly. That's why you signed him. Once a potential Cy Young guy from Cleveland, the gurus of building teams pitching wise.
Yeah.
And you got Lance at 37, 38 years old. I would literally go out and see what the market has, the value for either or. And whatever I can get more in return, I would move either or on that end. I wouldn't just move Clevenger just because there's about a $6 million difference that you can use for one of those other free agents. If the guy is Clevenger, and again, club option again at 18.5. You know, if you don't trade him, you have to sign him pretty much. So I would Giolito let him go, meaning so I can get something in return, and then I would see what offer I get best between Lynn and Clevenger, and then because I'm looking at them as they're going to be
It's
They're
a
gonna be my
difference
fifth
of
starter. What's the difference in them?
options. Lynn is a club option.
Yeah, the team picks it up.
Clevenger's a mutual option.
So Clevenger is signed.
Yeah,
Clevenger
it's easier
is
to drop that with a mutual option.
let me see. Clevenger, according to Sports Track, it's a mutual option with a $4 million buyout. Okay. Again, you can keep Lynn. He'll be your fifth starter. I would go on a limb. That's probably the guy that they're going to DFA first in 2024. Your DFA into May, the Dallas Keuchel, the Larry Garcia. Every year it happens. But yeah, so if you can make that move, here's the thing: are you going to get Arias? Are you going to get Nola?
Who are you going to outbid?
Correct. That's what I'm saying, though, because they're all going. Everybody's going after him.
Are you in a position to outbid anybody when you're trying to cut costs and when you're trying to keep your roster flexible?
Technically, you outbidded the Yankees for Rodon. Rodon just picked the Yankees, so I'm not worried about outbidding. It's just they want to come here. That's a bigger question.
Yeah, who wants to come? Do you think those veteran guys want to come to a losing team?
In a small ballpark.
Money talks.
In a small ballpark.
Okay, well, you just had Cease in a small ballpark become your runner-up Cy Young.
Yeah, but I'm saying...
So you're going to sign Cease?
Well, yeah, I'm going to give him an extension, yeah.
No, I'm saying you're going to sign a pitcher with the talent and hoping that he can have the same success in your home ballpark as Dylan Cease.
Yeah.
I'm about to... Hold on. Hey, Nolan Ryan? Yeah, you good? Okay. Gonzo's going to send some numbers over. Hopefully we can get you back at the rate. All right. Yep. All right. Ryan Express.
Yeah.
This is going to be your clip for the face.
I just say they need to be
I'm trying to get a deal done, Spence. What are you talking about?
By the way, I think that they got to be very careful on how they move those two guys. I think the number one guy that we know is going to be gone.
Nolan Gorman.
But again, it's a good staff. Again, that they, bring up Noah Schultz if he's ready. By the way, I have a question. If he's so good, why is he wasting his bullets in the minor leagues?
He's still young, man. He can't even go to the liquor store yet. Give him some time.
By the way, Alex Fernandez, Dontrell Willis,
that's a good question because I feel like it's a difference of like now versus when your dad was there.
Hey, Gonzo, when you're a good pitcher, those are bullets in your arm. You can be 10. Mm-hmm. You get guys out. So don't give me like there's preparation. You either got the bullets or you don't got the bullets. So if he's as good, I
feel like he has the bullets. I just don't know why they haven't tested it.
Okay. But I'm just saying though. Okay, because if he's ready, Jose Fernandez was like 12 when they brought him up. Okay, when you're ready, you're ready. There is no time frame on like, what is he learning a new pitch in the minor leagues? So that's what I'm saying. Like, is he ready? Is he big league ready?
I think he's just trying to develop that third pitch so that when he hits.
So he doesn't have a third. So he doesn't have a third pitch then. So he's not that great. He only has two pitches.
It. Oh, neither does Cease. Cease doesn't have a third pitch.
I'm just saying.
Come on, man. You talk about the slider, knuckle curve all the time.
Yeah, but he's not using the knuckle curve, Jay. We had this discussion.
Man,
he's using two pitches: slider, fastball.
Come on, man. But okay, so you're saying Noah Schultz. I mean, we know he's a good talent, but he's still a work in progress. Like
he's got the same thing. He's got a fastball slider too.
Yeah, so does every other person who ever gets on the mound.
But the movement on the slider and the change.
By the way, you just ruined. I think you say Noah Schultz got 3 pitches, he's dominating. Now I'm gonna go look up this kid. He's got 2 pitches. Wow.
It's a lot of pitchers have 2 pitchers.
He would be the number 1 prospect in the White Sox because the fans are going crazy because they think he's got 2 pitches.
I don't think it's crazy when Garrett Crochet, same thing, 2 pitches.
Okay, so Garrett Crochet, by the way, Garrett Crochet's in the big leagues.
Up. Yeah, and they're both first-round picks, so I don't know why. I don't know why the White Sox are not.
You know why? Because when he comes up and he gets his little tits lit, his value's going to go down. So they don't think that he's ready to come to the big leagues. That's why he's not in the big leagues. Because when you come to the big leagues, all the mystery, all the highlights,
this organization is great at judging their own talent.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. So all the highlights, all the stuff goes away. Okay.
But he's the guy I would push up.
I would push up Steve Nebraska too. You made him sound like he was Steve Nebraska.
Wait, who's Steve Nebraska?
The guy from the movie.
He's one of my favorite prospects.
Steve Nebraska is the guy that pitched and was in that movie that they found him in Mexico and he pitched in the world. He pitched in the World
Brandon
Series.
Fraser's the actor.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's talking like this guy's Steve Nebraska.
But no, he's the next guy that's going to be a big name here in this rotation.
Well, so what the hell happened in Jorge Vera? Like everybody was just pumping him up the last 2 years.
The relief pitcher, yeah. So, all right, guys, we had a lot of starting pitching talk. Let's go. Let's wrap this up with the relief pitchers. We got. All right, I'm gonna go with guys I think we're gonna keep. Crochet, Santos, Middleton, Lopez. I'm signing Lopez back, and then I'm keeping Hendricks for his last year, and then I'm trading away Kelly, Graveman, and Bummer. I don't care what we get him for, but Kelly and Graveman, I'd be more interested in seeing what they're going to get on the market. So,
thanks, man.
That's who I got. What do you guys got?
I think we move Hendricks.
Yeah, you got to move Liam.
I'd be open for it, but we haven't seen him.
Gonzo, yet. Would you be okay with Garrett? Would you be okay with Garrett Crochet as a closer?
Yeah,
for a little bit.
Yeah,
I think the organization would too. And you're not, like you said, you're not going to move Cease. What other arm do you have?
There's a lot of people saying trade Hendricks. A lot of people saying trade Hendricks, but dude, he hasn't even gotten up yet. He just beat cancer. He's still trying to work in the minors right now. Like Pedro was talking about it today. We still have to push his stint in the minors for an extra week and see how he feels before we bring him up. So, like, people are just assuming we're going to see the same out of him. We haven't seen that yet, so let's just hold off on that. But we still have him for one more year, and that's also a club option on him for next year. So, as I see it, we got 5 spots for next year with 3 open. What are you seeing, Junior?
Yeah, I think you have to move as many guys as possible, to be honest. Again, if you're out of it, just because bullpen guys give you a lot of options and a lot of teams make moves for bullpen guys. But that's what I would go for, and not hold anybody in the bullpen just because I know Kopech and Crochet and those guys, the younger guys can pretty much fill in. Do you guys remember a guy named Marquez that got traded from the Yankees here? Remember that? Who did he get traded for? Marquez, pitcher, Yankees. Jeff Marquez, I think. Marquez.
Now I'm thinking Vasquez.
No, Marquez. Look up if someone can help us out. He's supposed to be a top prospect. Yeah, that guy. I don't think he ever pitched a day in the big leagues. The number 1 prospect in the Yankee organization, I think, at the time when he got traded here to be a starter.
What year was that?
It's probably in the 2009s, 10s, maybe 11s.
Marquez.
Yeah,
it's too long ago.
Marquez. Again, that's what I'm saying, though. We've been in this rodeo a long time, so I've seen a lot of prospect pitchers.
I can remember Steve Nebraska, but I can't remember Marquez.
By the way, Noah Schultz's new nickname is Steve Nebraska.
Noah Nebraska?
It is. It's like Kopech. Right, Kopech. He used to eat thunder.
So for this wrap of our construction positions we are eyeing is catcher, second base, right field, and then 2 starting pitchers and 3 bullpen arms, which bullpen arms are pretty inexchangeable. But Junior, I do want to say here with the bullpen, filling the bullpen up, you got to do that. Try to do that best within your organization. There is
you don't want to spend $40 million.
Yeah, you don't. Exactly. But there's like Cronin down there, and I think he's in AA, right, Jay? Cronin. He's got some interesting stuff. I'd like to see him brought up next year. But Juan brings up a good point. Remember Ian, and he meant to say Ian Hamilton in New York. I think he's thrown 12 innings, not giving up anything in 12 innings. A guy that we let go, and the Yankees picked him up. He's on a roll right now. But exactly, thank you, Juan. That's a great point with Hamilton. But there's guys that you got to bring up. You can't be doing what Han did and spending $40+ million in the bullpen just for it to get lit up.
I'm gonna be honest, man.
Try your best to scout.
We suck just as much as Rick Hahn because we did all this analysis and we still are trying to replace the same positions. So that means we still believe in the same fools playing the positions right now that are under 500.
I love you.
I mean, I don't think it's bad analysis by us, but we haven't
Like
given
we're
our
running the
own
fucking
replacements.
This
We
team
haven't-
is that, by the way, this team is that screwed up.
Yeah. But that's the
It's
thing.
like,
But Junior,
we want to
like,
get divorced, but we
Junior,
can't afford
these
it.
same positions,
so
these
we
same-
break up a little bit.
these same positions have been that way through the whole window.
Again, but we want to break up, but we can't afford it. We can't
We
afford
can
the child
afford it.
support. We can't afford the alimony. No, we can't. Stop looking up Jerry's net worth as a team.
But
Unless
don't
you're
have
going to
to
eat up
quote
all that
big
money.
But Junior, you gave me credit for Sean Murphy.
Oh, Murphy, yeah, I did.
That's a guy that you could have traded for what, a year and a half ago, and it
Yeah.
wouldn't have cost.
And who
it would
would
cost
you
you.
have traded?
It would have costed you $3 million the next 3 years.
Correct,
And-
but they would
and
have
then-
traded
and
their key pieces, but they didn't want to trade their key pieces that were traded. So, like
Yeah.
right now, you got to keep Moncada. You got to keep TA because there's nobody
Which-
else. You got to keep, so it's like still the same lineup, essentially.
Well, I think it'd be different if we're pulling the strings than Han, when we're trying to find our guys that we'd want. Look how Sean Murphy's doing right now with Atlanta.
He's doing great.
He looks like Javi
Gold
Lopez.
glove and leading the charge over there.
Yeah,
out
and
there.
again, they went and spent the most money on their catcher when there was already a catcher here.
Yeah, and that cost them $3 million the
And the
next
first
3
and the
years.
first base. Like look at that. It wasn't just Murphy. Look at what they did with Matt Olson the year before.
Ooh.
They got $3 million this year or next 3 years, and then market value of $20 million for the 4th, 5th, and 6th year. So
I think the number one thing they need to
Probably.
figure out is who they really are, because I still don't see them as contender, even with this really bad division.
yeah,
I told somebody on Twitter today that they could lose 90 games and still win the division.
that'd be rough.
By the way, did Minnesota win tonight? I think they beat the best team, the Dodgers, that were in a 6-game
I
winning
think they
streak.
did 3-1.
Okay, yeah, they were in a 3. I think the Dodgers were in a 6-7 game winning streak. Kershaw coming in after the passing of his mother was probably very motivated, and the Twinkies pulled off that victory again. At what point are the Chicago White Sox going to give the Twins the respect that they are leading the division? At
That
what
brings
point?
up Southside Daily. All right, we're gonna go through Southside Daily quickly here. We got to finish the series here in Cleveland at home tomorrow. Clevenger versus Bettenfield. I haven't seen much of Bettenfield. And then you have
He's a
C's.
loser.
You
A
got
schmuck.
C's, RAs versus Allen on Thursday. Junior, I'm thinking the Sox are going to sweep.
I think they will. I think they can sweep. I think they can sweep. The Cleveland is a team that does not have a great offense. When the Sox lack in, where they struggle like they did today, where they let teams come back in, I don't think that Cleveland has that firepower. I watch Cleveland a lot. Everybody knows that's my squad, my second squad that I watch the most. And I don't think that they have the firepower to come back if the Sox take an early lead. So, yes, I can see them sweeping, which in reality means nothing other than the fact that you get false hope and not pull the trigger early enough to get the stuff that you need. So, yeah. And if they don't, and if they don't get swept, and they do get, and the Cleveland does win the series, you're still in the same situation that you were today. You're still 12 games out of under 500 or more.
Now, Junior, this is a big key. You got to win series at this point, but more essential versus your division opponents. It's time you got to start sweeping them. You can't just take 2 or 3 anymore. That's just only one game in the standings.
Correct.
In the division. So you got to start sweeping the teams that are below, at least the Royals and the Tigers. Try to sweep them.
But you're not sweeping the Royals.
But you got to try your best here.
That's sick.
It's sad, but the Royals have been playing us hard like they have been in the past. And That brings us to yes, the Royals. They're coming home for the homestand Friday through Sunday. Friday, Kopech versus Greinke. Saturday, Gio versus Lyles. Sunday, Lynn versus Keller. I think they take 2 of 3, but you better be sweeping them. Even though I really feel like they're going to take 2 of 3 because I feel like
We
Keller's a home
we
test.
just literally said you're not sweeping Kansas City, and Gonzo follows that up with you better be sweeping their ass. I don't know what to do. What do we do, Gonzo?
What do you mean by Gonzo? What does it mean you better sweep? Like, who are you? Your team sucks right now, dude. Your record
They do.
is 15 and
Like
28.
what do you mean they suck?
You're not sweeping anybody. You guys
They
suck.
won
It's
every
15 and
game
20.
they
You guys are
played
not
today.
sweeping anyone. I'm just
You
saying
just
though,
said we're
you're
gonna
not
sweep
sweeping
Cleveland.
anyone. I'm just saying though, you should sweep Cleveland, but I'm saying like we expect like what are you like? You, Grifal, and Rick Hahn are on high on peyote. Like
Well, I'm
legitimately.
saying, like, you need a sweep if your expectations are you're doing anything. You're not, which is why I said you're going to probably take 2 of 3.
So you're gonna win
White
6 games
Sox
in a row.
won
Is what
every
you're
game
saying.
they played today.
I think
Literally.
they win the next 2. I think they win the next 4 games.
4 out of they could give me 4 out of 2 in this.
So by
next
the time Tuesday comes around, okay, win Monday.
Hold up.
How many games? No. How many games? I'm just doing the math here. How many games
Yeah.
between here and next Monday?
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 games.
Okay, 6 games. Okay.
I'll take 4 and 2, man.
So they win 6 games. They win them all. They're 20, 21, and 28. Looks way better than 15 and 28, to be honest, with 6 wins.
In these 6 games, I have them going 5 and 1.
Okay.
Because I think they lose that Sunday game. Lance Lynn, who hit pitch well tonight, but versus Keller. Keller's been owning us forever.
We just seen this movie.
Slav put in my face, and I hate seeing. What I hate seeing is because I know Keller's beatable. You saw in the first 3 innings, his control's all over the place, and we're swinging everything. We're not having patient at bats. We can't put runs on the board versus him, and it pisses me off. But yeah, all right, 2 of 3. And then Monday is on the road in Cleveland, and it's Clevenger versus Battenfield, the repeat. So however tomorrow goes, that's you're gonna get that same matchup to begin the series on Monday. And yeah, I have them winning actually. So
I got them without looking at who the hell is going to pitch because I don't have to. They're going 500 in the next 6 games because they've been a 500 team for the past
forever.
2
years.
So
2 years
I'm not
straight.
going to go here and be like, oh, I'm going to bet they're a 500 team. So regardless how they're going to come in, they're a 500 team. So I'm going to go with a 500 prediction, and their record at the end of the week should be 24 and 31. And they probably will be, give or take, maybe 7 or 8 games, depending on how they do out of the first place. Maybe the Guardians. I think the situation hurts the Guardians more because now if they split with the Sox, they drop more than four games, and obviously Minnesota takes a firmer lead, so they can play party spoilers. But I'm thinking 500 at best. If they play 500, they did their job. They're at least trending to be average, like what we thought that they were. If they get beat, let's say 2 out of 5, like they only win 2 and lose 4, then we got bigger problems than that. Again, the race to 100 gets a lot quicker. But I'm going 500. I don't care.
Well,
I don't care.
Juan
Who's
Diego
facing
says, "Screw you." He agrees with me at 5 and 1 because
okay, great.
me and Juan look at the matchups
Juan
and
Diego,
we like it.
Okay. Juan Diego, Rick Hahn, Kenny, and you and Southpaw are all and Grifal are all high on peyote.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Like you guys are looking at predictions from before of saying like, oh yeah, like we're still the team. By the way, you're playing in Chicago, not Glendale, because Glendale, you guys had a good team. Glendale
had Brian Ramos, Gonzo.
Glendale. Again, you guys can think 5 and 1. We will hold the receipts. They should go 5 and 1. This team was built to go 5 and 1 against these
That's
two
the
teams.
last time you'll see Oscar Colas and Brian Ramos on the same team as in Glendale.
Is in Glendale. Okay, so again, Gonzo goes and says that they're going 5 and 1, and so did Juan Diego, 5 and 1. Great.
Yeah, we want 5 and 1, but we're probably gonna be let down.
Oh yeah, 5 again. You guys are you going with what you guys want, or what I'm going to give you the analysis of? Okay, I'm going.
These people want Yohan Moncada to play second base.
No, I'm giving you.
Yeah, crazy they are.
I'm basing it off the pitching matchup, which is half the battle.
Yeah, Logan Allen is gonna get fucking tapped. 2 Thursday.
Yeah.
Literally
So-
beat to a pulp.
We're gonna see how the boys roll. But guys, it's time to make bets.
Ooh.
Give us the weekly pick.
From
Yes, and our boy Juan reminds us that J Ram's still out and Naylor got tweaked up today, so we'll see if he's back. But
Yes.
this is the weekly pick to click. And Slav, who's not with us today, he's feeling under the weather. He picked Luis Robert, who went 7 for 15 this past week with 5 runs, 3 home runs, 6 ribbies, and added another home run in today's game. So Slav won with Robert, and he's starting it off with Johan Moncada.
That's fucking bogus.
Yep. Slav picks Moncada. And the order's going to go Slavko, me, Jay, and then Junior.
wait, how did you win, Chris? Who'd you have?
Let me go look at the picks from last week.
Because I had Moncada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't do as good as actually Opie because Opie had more production.
Who? Opie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your future at first base. That's who Opie is.
Yep. And surprisingly, Jay actually had TA, who actually still had more production, surprisingly. So it is Slavko,
Don't say surprisingly
Me.
like that.
Justin, and Junior. Junior will bounce back. I know he will.
Not with this roster.
Hey, stop
All
playing,
right.
man.
So I'm gonna. Oh, this is a tough decision because Robert's off the board as with Slavko's pick. I'm gonna go with. All right, I'm going with TA.
Always bet on black.
I'm betting on TA to start rolling because he's pissed. He's sore, but he's pissed. Jay, you're on the board.
Give me Gavin Sheets.
Gavin Sheets.
I'm gonna go with Grandal.
Really?
Yeah. Swinging
I'm
the bat
telling you,
well.
he's been having a solid year.
I mean, he's been hitting the ball well. I got to change it up a little bit. I would go with Grandal.
I thought you was gonna go with Hanser.
No. I'm gonna go with a Grandal. A lot of no-run first inning bets this week with the White Sox. And again, my betting on who's not going to get a hit. I like it at plus money. Today, Robert beat me in the last inning. He was a plus 190 not to get one.
How'd he beat you?
He got a hit. He got a little Yahtzee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was good. It was good. It was a good bet. That was plus money. And again, you could do it for your opponents as well. So I always look at the opponents on both sides who are the best pitch, who are the highest not to get an out. So and again, no run first inning. One of my favorites with the White Sox.
And just a little rundown I posted here in the chat. Slavko Moncada, me, TA. Jay's going with Sheets, and Junior is going with Grandal. And our standings are Slavko 3, I'm at 2, and my jokesters with me tonight are at 1. Who's going to get the next victory between Justin and Junior? Chat, we will find out in the weeks to come. But guys, you have any shout outs for tonight at all before we wrap it up here?
I want to give a shout out to the Bad Guy Radio. I've been in the pledge fealty to King Mac. An outstanding week on the internet. So shout out to you guys, Jess, Ken, Junior, 9, Big Dog, Dre, Alfredo from Alfredo Experience. You guys are awesome, and you make being a White Sox fan a little bit more fun. Not like Junior, who roots for the Tribe and rubs it in my face.
Junior.
For me, I think I got again. You need a baseball bag. Check out Morning Wood. Morning Wood 25% off using the Morningwood. Yeah.
Yeah, you put that on.
You can't get if you can't get any wood and you need Morningwood, get your baseball bat. Morningwood baseball bats, 25% off using the promo code TheGuillenGrid. And that's about let's look at this week, and weather's starting to heat up. Check it out. Hopefully we make some money on the books, and we get to see some good baseball here.
Awesome, Junior. And I am Gonzo. To the left or right of me, depending on your perspective, is Justin Lee. And to the bottom, and one of our best guys on the show is Ozzie Guillen Jr. Chat, thanks for joining us. This is episode 11. Thanks for watching, Chicago. Beep, beep.